So in this Fallout 76 video, we're going to be talking about the future of the game and what the developers have planned. Recently, in an Ask Me Anything, the developers came out and talked about a lot of stuff. In a previous video, I discussed a few things that they had planned, such as the next gen update, which that's not only going to be for next generation consoles, it's going to be a huge overhaul for the game with optimization. They're going to be running off a whole new engine, so it's hopefully going to be better optimized. Also, they're going to be improving graphics and everything. It's not just going to be for next generation consoles, it's going to be for PC too. In this video, I'm going to be discussing more than just that. I'm going to be sharing with you more things that they talked about that's going to be coming, such as some interesting PvP modes they have planned. It could be like a PvP arena, it seems like they have planned. Some other things, such as a new raid, etc. We're going to be getting into it. I'm just going to be straight up just showing you what they said. Literally, I'm just going to be showing you the Ask Me Anything just so you can hear what all is said without me interrupting it or anything. So, yeah, hope you all find this enjoyable, and if you do, consider leaving a like. Let's try to get this video to surpass 500 likes, guys. That'd be awesome. As always, though, that's totally up to you if you want to support this kind of content. First things first, though, in case you missed it, I'm going to be sharing with you all real quick here Bill Lacoste, who is Bethesda's production director for Fallout 76, talking about the next generation update here. Check this out.
Anyway, so John talked a
name
good bit about the
is
game.
always good.
Yeah, love
Sorry,
props. Love props. No, it's fine. I was gonna say that John's talked a good bit about the game there too, but I've talked a good bit about a lot of the technical upgrades that we'll be making across the year too. So we do have next gen / current gen, so Gen 9 machine native builds coming to the project this year. That's on track. That's actually looking really good. And along with that, throughout the year, you're going to see a lot more optimizations to lighting, reflections, shadows, and the game itself is going to get a pretty good, I say, increase in fidelity. It's going to look really good. So we've already seen some good results of that so far. So there's that. And then also just in terms of debt, it's like, look, I've never been one to shy away from saying that, like, look, we've got a game that's 7 years old. There's a lot of things that build up over the years of just technical and design debt. We're going to be knocking that stuff out too. And some of our internal folks sometimes are like, do people really want to see that we're fixing stuff? Yes, absolutely. They want to see that we're fixing stuff. They love seeing big, I mean, not that I like to see that there's a huge list of bugs that we fixed. I don't like necessarily seeing that, but the players do, and they know that we're actually listening to feedback, addressing those things, and getting them out the door for them to have a much better play experience. And so going along with the work that's going to go into the game, your day-to-day, minute-to-minute work that you're doing, there's also going to be some technical upgrades coming this year, and I think that's really important for this game to continue on. I mean, we've got ideas are certainly not short, on this product, and so. We've got a really good roadmap. John's been doing a great job of establishing some really good beats and some really good story elements here, and so we're going to keep cranking those out and continue to make the game better, both on the content side but also the technical side.
So yeah, that is huge news right there. That's gargantuan news. I can't wait for that to come. I don't know when exactly it's coming out. Could be coming out sometime in April, I'm assuming. I don't know though. It is confirmed though for this year. This year. So that's promising. At first, I was thinking that this year was looking a little dry, especially with the Backwoods update after the Burning Springs update. The Backwoods update, in my opinion, was definitely lackluster, and it came with a lot of issues. So maybe now they're waiting on this next generation update to come into the game, so their next updates after the next gen update won't be as much of a buggy mess. At least, fingers crossed. I mean, we're talking about Bethesda here, so you never really know, but the next gen update is supposed to be making the game better optimized, and it's going to be completely overhauling the graphics as well. It's going to look like a completely different game, hopefully. At least that's what I'm getting at with what they are working with and how it's going to have a new engine and stuff like that. They are running off an outdated engine, as some of you may know. Anyways, now let's go ahead and get into more of the future of the game. Bill Lacoste and John Rush, who is Bethesda's creative director for Fallout 76, released a bunch of information in the Ask Me Anything over plans that they have. And man, I was so stoked about some of the things that he brought up, like PvP. We could be getting something kind of like Nuclear Winter back, it seems like. Also, a new raid, some new in-game content. I mean, just check this out. I'll let him do all the talking and explaining about what's coming. Straight from their mouth. Check this out.
All right, this next question is for John. It's from Joy84. And it's about thickening of the game and raid content. I'm gonna go straight to their question because we are running low on time, and I want to make sure we get through as many people as possible. So
Mhm.
Joy84's question is: are there plans to add more challenging late game content, such as another raid or other group-oriented content? More dungeons, such as expeditions or raids, would be most welcome.
It's not hard enough right now. It's not challenging enough right. No, Bill says. Then to that I say yes. There are definite plans for much more challenging content down them country roads. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry. And
Don't you?
I'm actually going to wrap Baltimore Actual's question into this too, because everybody's asking for challenge, everybody's asking for in-game content, and Baltimore Actual was looking for your thoughts about difficulty. Yeah, like what would be too difficult versus kind of like where we are now. So I'm actually going to ask John Bill both. We know that players are really, really good at melting content that the team creates. Um, but how does the team think about difficulty in relation to what we want players to like be doing? If that question makes any sense, because I'm kind of taking Baltimore's question and I'm merging it with my own thoughts.
Yeah, I've got thoughts. Do you want to go, Bill, or me?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first kind of element there that we started off doing a couple of years ago, or maybe 3 or 4 years ago, was just the normalization of the world. We wanted players to be able to experience a challenge no matter kind of what level they were, even in events and even with bosses. But that's not to say that in the future there might not be an actual minimum level that's much higher for some of the other creatures that may be entering the world. So again, it's one of those things, especially with so many weapons, so many pieces of armor, so many legendaries, so many perks that fall into it, that it just takes a lot of time to kind of balance that out. We have to make sure that we are servicing a large group of folks to be able to engage in these combat scenarios. And when we talk about the headhunts, for example, making those harder, we have to be very careful about that. Because we could make it to where it's only the top 1% that can actually take it down if they're all together and do it, and that's not going to be fun for the rest of the groups, who want to do headhunts. So again, it's just a very calculated, effort that requires a lot of testing, a lot of feedback, and iteration, from the team. But we are always, like we were talking about earlier, very conscious of the fact that we have such wide range of players, but also player levels and weapon and armor and skill levels, in terms of the min max, element. There's players who are just now getting into it. There's players who've been here for a long time. So we just got to make sure it's balanced.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of chatter about PvP. I'm going to touch on it a bit because, yeah, for some folks that is more challenging content, or the next thing. PvP. So before we shipped, we could have sworn, oh, multiplayer Fallout, everybody's going to want to kill each other. Cool, let's let them, and they, you guys didn't. You guys want to play together. You guys want to build stuff and show it off and just have fun adventuring in the wasteland together. So Nuclear Winter was a fun experiment, right, with PvP, in that it was kind of it was an isolated experience off on the side, and it let folks who wanted that to go and pursue it. Right, Nuclear Winter, though, kind of being a parallel service to the Fallout 76 that we all play, requires its own huge team to support and to update and to make sure that stuff is going okay. And that was unfortunately just a team that we didn't have, right? And when we held those needs up against how many players were actually playing Nuclear Winter, it seemed like the best course was to turn our attention back to supporting the map of Appalachia that we're all playing on. However, we have had talks and there are discussions about ways to bring PvP into 76, not in a way that, like, I see Bill running around and I'm just going to start shooting him. It would be very much in the same spirit of a Nuclear Winter, in that it's an isolated environment, right? That you purposefully somebody has to purposefully sign up for or engage with, and it would be kind of non-punishing, everybody coming in on a level playing field sort of thing. But again, it would be kind of a 76 version of PvP. But yeah, we were amazed. You guys all want to be friends in the Wasteland. Perhaps there's hope for the future. As far as like other types of in-game content, what we want people to be doing, what we're picturing people doing at that stage of the game is we just want them adventuring, moving around the map, doing things, right? We don't want them to have to stop and sit somewhere for a while so that they can eventually work up to the next thing. An example that I could give, I've got more props, is if you're playing the game, and you get to a point where you're able to kill the Scorch Beast Queen all the time, right? You show up every time. It's no challenge anymore. You've gotten all the rewards. The next real step for you doesn't exist here. It's kind of way up here, and it's Gleaming Depths, right? There's a huge rift between here, and it's hard to bridge that gap, and it takes a lot of time, and it has people kind of at a stalemate until they can finally get here and then go through that content. So that's why I mentioned earlier on looking for ways to insert like intermediary steps in between to help that progression, right? So players feel that sense of progression and don't get frustrated because they're stuck somewhere. So as far as future content that might props again, that might be harder, right? Where we would go from here is instead of going way off here off the chart, we would just take it up a bit, up a bit, up a bit, and make them a little more rewarding, maybe the next step up in player power, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the way we think about it. But when players start just kind of standing still and not wanting to engage in stuff, that's when we know that there's a kind of there's a disconnect between what we've offered and what players expect.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's why, we've rebalanced a bunch of events in the Backwoods update, right? Because we want to make sure that anything that pops up for the player to do is rewarding. It's like we don't want people to feel like, oh, I don't want to do that because I'm not going to get anything from it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's got to be a nice, steady crescendo of progression is really what it is.
Love it.
So yeah, lots of promising stuff coming in the future. Would love to know your guys' thoughts about all this and what you're excited about that's coming. Seems like we are getting some good stuff coming soon. They just haven't announced it quite yet, which I'm not sure why. Maybe they're just trying to keep it under the wraps until they figure out for sure on a confirmation date of when it's coming. But they did just recently confirm in the Ask Me Anything, which wasn't that long ago. It was probably like a couple weeks ago now, that the next gen update is still slated to come out this year. So we could be getting some kind of announcement soon about that. Anyways, yeah, would love to know your guys' thoughts once again about all of this. But anyways, I'm out of here. As always, most importantly, I appreciate y'all taking the time watching and listening, and consider leaving a like on the video. As always, though, that's totally up to you. Just a reminder here in the end. Until next time, guys, peace.